to Climate Academia, the series of online talks with top scientists and UN negotiators, an independent education initiative that aims to better explain the idea of interconnection and the importance of climate collaboration, global collaboration for climate change adaptation. Let's welcome our special guest today, Branca Bastos Americano from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Hello, Branca.
Hi, Izabela. Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Branca is a geographer, a former climate change secretary for Brazil, spent almost 20 years working on climate change policy in Brazil, Ministry for Science and Technology. She was a member of the Brazilian delegation to the UNFCCC until year 2017. She's also ECBI Oxford Fellow. And in the past, she worked with NGOs on climate change. Branca, I have some questions for you. How is Brazil affected by climate change? Tell us about your adaptation plan.
Well, hello, everybody. Yes, Brazil is a huge country with different biomes, and the economy is very diverse. So, of course, we are the basis for our economy, as well as our biodiversity, can be let's see, how can you say, is very vulnerable to climate change. We have enormous coastal zone, so we can have serious problems of touching the coastal zone. Our economy is based in agriculture, so we have many studies already seeing how this will change. For example, the areas for coffee. We were talking about coffee. This can be serious. But one of the main thing I believe also is because our urban areas, we have many cities with poor people who lives in slopes, and as rain is, we're going to have huge rains, and we already have. We can have disasters, very, very sad, with many people dying. And of course, we can talk here for hours and hours, because we have problems in agriculture, forest, urban areas, infrastructure, even health, because some endemic diseases are moving around the country, can move and go to areas that have never had before. So a strategic, I think that you were talking about adaptation plan. From my point of view, adaptation plan is overall a strategic look ahead, how the climate is going to change, and how can you build resilience in your economy, the infrastructure, urban areas, all these things. And we have a plan that was built in a very cooperative way with science, different groups. But we have already a document which identifies, including the institutional structure for following the policies, and who is in charge of this and that, with indicators. But our current government didn't push this ahead. It stopped on top of a shelf or under.
I'm really interested in Brazilian politics. Let's talk about it a little bit in a minute. But let me also ask you about the Amazon, because when people think Brazil, they think about the forest. So let me ask you, over a third of Earth's tropical forests are the Amazonian forest. How can the Amazon help stop climate change, Branca?
Well, I think Amazon has, here inside Brazil, you can look at the Amazon from many aspects. Internal, only natural, and but even for Brazil, only for the country, the Amazon region is responsible for the air circulation, water circulation inside the continent. So even the water that we have here in the southeast, I don't know if everybody knows, but the electric matrix of Brazil is mainly our source. Main source is not oil or coal, as many countries. We have hydropower plants. So of course the supply of water, of energy, is related to the volume of water that you have on the stocked. And if you don't have rain, you will not have electricity. So you have also kind of very straightforward impact. If the Amazon is drier, we don't have this water circulation, we will not have the energy supply. So we will need more, maybe, I don't know, but burn some fossil fuel to get the electricity. So this can have other impacts. But Amazon, of course, it has a value per se as a forest, as a human. It's like the human beings, like the animals, like the biodiversity. We are as a mega biodiverse country. And of course, what is interesting is that I think that nowadays people, even the economy, the mainstream, they understood that the Amazon region, that our biodiversity, the rich things that we have is those resources. They have to be, of course, they will have one day to transform in money, because of course you say, oh, the forest is a treasure. Okay, but the treasure is there, and the people, we have 25 million people living in the Amazon. Sometimes people think that the Amazon is only the forest and nobody lives there. No, people lives there, and people who lives there, they are poor mainly, and the economy goes around that former or you know, the logic that you have to cut trees, sell the wood and timber, and then that's it. So to build this new economy is not a simple thing. And you know, good news is that it was this week approved a law that was in negotiation for 13 years in the Congress, I think, that talk about payment for ecological, how do you say, payment for the services, ecological services. So this, then you can remunerate some of the services of the forest, and this can open a new possibility for the area, the people, the area, and the biome. Of course, the forest is super important, and we will have to learn. We have good institutes here studying all the possibilities, not only of plants, but exactly how to remunerate this ecological services, how to develop a low carbon economy and a sustainable economy based on our biodiversity. It's bioeconomy that everybody knows. So
you mentioned the politics, and actually here I see that Amazon is being also extremely sort of interrelated to Brazilian politics. Can we talk about politics, Branca?
Of course.
Brazil had been the global leader on climate change until the last several years. Brazil was the first country to sign the Convention on Climate Change. It was a result, of course, of the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. Until now, what are the main challenges for Brazil in the recent recent years in terms of politics, climate change policy?
Yeah, look, I remember, because I spent many years of my life, happy years of my life, negotiating with other countries and meeting people, nice people like you, and what is evident is that the Brazilian diplomacy is they are very well prepared. It's a school, it's a school, and the staff is permanent. So you probably know many of our negotiators that along the time cross one government, the other government, because they have a staff capable, intelligent, smart, well prepared. But, and then we come the but, this new administration is so, we are amazed in the country, really. We have passed many things in our lives, many different political, but like this one is the first, is unimaginable that people who are anti-scientific are, they are like Trump imitation, the bad, bad imitation of Trump, and less powerful. So my hope is that this, the Brazilian diplomacy, and they are very resistant. I've seen them negotiating for many days without sleeping. So they are not sleeping now. They are resistant. And when this thing passes, we're going to be there, like the U.S. Exactly like the U.S. The people, they're coming back, and I hope this, because Brazil, as you said, we had an important role, not only in the elaboration, but I had the opportunity to make part of some of the big problems in the negotiation. There was no way out, and then call the Brazilian negotiator. We had good negotiators to accommodate, to understand the others, to build a new. So we have this tradition, and we will continue after this interregnum, a little bit complicated, I think, because our current Minister of Foreign Affairs, he's a man who is completely anti-multilateralism, anti-science, anti all the things that finally we believe, and it's, for me, is a signal of civilization, things that we look forward, values that we look forward. They're looking backwards, I don't know where. So it's sad, to see the situation. And the same way to look, they look for the Amazon, of course. They look to the Amazon and think that, of course, we are not naive. We know that there are economic interests in Europe, for example, for agriculture, because of the Brazilian competition on food production and things like that. So we know absolutely, and but this doesn't mean that the forest is not important, and that we cannot protect the forest. We have to protect. But here in Brazil we have a coalition. It's climate, agriculture, and forest. It's a coalition that has, I think, 10 years already. And it's fantastic because they put together people from different sides, NGOs, food producers, people from climate change, and they put everybody together and they fight for a sustainable agriculture system with forest and agriculture. And how can we use as our resource? We have people, we need, to have wealthy no, because wealthy is too rich, but comfort for the population, and use our resources, but in a sustainable way, of course. Because the other way, by the way, if you're not sustainable, you will not survive in the 21st century. So there's no way out. You have to be sustainable. And big part of our economy and understood that. Only the stupids in power, no. Don't push me this way, because
I want. I think you've introduced so many interesting interconnections, and of course, we all know that politics plays a crucial role in climate change regime. Let's move to the next question. I'd like to ask about global collaboration on the Paris Agreement. What do you think are the key challenges ahead moving towards implementation of the Paris Agreement globally, knowing that we have this shift now, because under the Kyoto Protocol, countries had assigned emission reductions. Now under the Paris Agreement, it's a little bit different, because it's driven by nationally determined contribution, which is that countries, they actually put on the table as much as they want to reduce. So what do you think? And having in mind the new challenge, which is a pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, how do you think we'll move forward with that?
Look, I think that understanding the architecture of the Paris Agreement is fundamental to understand how we are going to move forward. Because, as you said, the Kyoto Protocol said the rich countries limit their emissions and the poor countries will contribute in some way. And then because the developed countries should take the lead, and we understand that developing countries have limitations. Well, okay. And then we started to negotiate a second architecture that would be everybody together. And that was in Copenhagen when it exploded. It's impossible to push down to each country to tell them how much you're going to do. So the Paris Agreement said, look, everybody is in the agreement, but each one tells how much you can do. And then we add up everything and say, oh, nice, but the Earth, we're going to have more 4 degrees. Oops, this is not good. We have to push down. So the blocks, I will not say building blocks because there's another meaning, but the blocks are, each one tells how much you can do, but you have a MRV, a system to compare, and then we have to check this frequently, and each 5 years, and then each 5 years you tell what you can do more. But maybe each 5 years, and if you're just going to do this more, I said less emissions, more effort, less emissions, will not be sufficient. So this system of each one tells what you want to do, but you have transparency and comparability, and you have a frequency of checking everything and proposing a more ambitious
targets.
Target. This, of course, will change a lot of things. A lot of things. I remember that in mitigation, one of the policies that in mobility, for example, we had You can take any plan of mobility. They say, electric vehicles, this and that. But when you say home office, everybody say, oh, this isn't possible. Home office is something for, it's not reality. It's not possible. Think about that. I think that mobility will be a completely different coming out from the pandemic, because now home office is a reality, and we know that it's completely insane to put someone here. Big cities, I don't know where you live, but I live in Rio de Janeiro. Sometimes you spend 1 hour, 2 hours in the transport to get there and 2 more to go back. So it's 4 hours of your time. It's you are burning fuels. To go to a place to take a computer that you can open at your house. So I think these kind of things are going to change a lot. So our emissions, the profile of emissions, are also going to change. But this is not all. I think we have. It's too early to think, but things are going to change. Even I think our ability, our freedom to circulate that much, I think it's going to be a little bit restricted, because a student in Europe, look, a typical student in Europe, a French guy, or at the university, concluded with 24 years old, the guy knows already all around the world. He has been traveling around the world. He knows many continents. He can, okay, this is nice from his perspective, but I don't know if it's realistic, to travel that much in such a cheap way, and without maybe we can find, without the barriers of not taking things from one side to the other. So I don't know. I think we have everything is changing because of this pandemic. The urban areas, the need of concentration, the work, the way you buy things, the way you only Carnival cannot change. Please,
I agree. I totally agree with that. That should remain. How did you do without? Did you have restrictions for the Carnival in Rio this year?
We didn't have Carnival. We didn't have Carnival. We didn't have it at all. And this is for the first time.
That's really, really sad, but this is the results of the pandemic. So look how interconnected we are. And
yes.
This again proves that climate change is an important issue, because we are globally interconnected. What is going on in one part of the world affects a city or a street far, far away on the other part of the world. And actually, the example of Carnival in Rio being cancelled is one of the greatest examples to prove how interconnected we are. Let's hope that next year you can enjoy the Carnival. And please,
maybe you can come.
Maybe I could come. I'm not quite sure because of the travel restrictions. We don't know that, to be honest. We don't know what's the future like, so it's very difficult to plan. But let me thank you very much for this interesting interview. Thanks for sharing all the politics and interesting matters on the Amazon, the role of the Amazon. We admire your work, and thank you very much for contributing to climate change policy. We hope we stay in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Izabela. It was a great opportunity, and congratulations for your initiative.
Thank you very much. Thank you.